me that he had a threesome, also I go ahead and date the man because it tells you that a person is capable of doing anything. Okay, there
You,
are some of the things you can just consider, but some of the things too, when the person tells you this is what I was doing, like when you have a partner and he cheated on you before, anytime he's out there or any something little, then you feel like, is he cheating on me? So it looks like it's going to give you a headache every day, and you'll be thinking, so I don't think I'm going to give in for. But the point here is, I see a lot of relationships, they share their secret and past. And in between the partners, they feel it should be private. I am sharing it with you because you're my partner. That is my past. And at the end of the day, issues come and they start to hit each other back with it. So I don't think you should share any privacy with any partner you have. That is
so,
what I think.
Ohima, did you say? Did you say
Privacy is different from like a secret.
secret?
If you have a man that you've been with and he's cheated on you before and you accepted him back, you can't worry about what he's doing when he's out. Why would you worry about that? You know his character if he hasn't changed. So that's really on you
Okay.
as to how you feel, because you if you trust him, you can't be thinking that way because all you're doing is hurting yourself.
Okay.
He's okay because he's his thinking or his thought process is that
Mm-hmm.
you've forgiven him
Mm-hmm.
for his cheating.
Yeah.
So if he goes out and he comes home and you bring that up to him, you haven't forgiven him. Why are you with somebody that you're going to torment yourself and torment him? You're not going to grow because there's no trust. You don't trust him. You got to let it go completely, and that's basically the whole thing. You got to let it go.
Okay, Roxy. Before we have a caller on the line. I haven't opened the lines
Okay.
yet, but we have a caller. I'll pick you. Just give me a minute. Ohima, did you say if somebody tells you that they had a threesome in their 20s, you are not going to date the person?
I will never. There are some of the things if I meet a man, he tells me that he used to do.
Uh huh.
I will never accept you as my partner because I feel you can do it some other time.
See, Roxy, and that is the reason why. So it's the shame and the fear of it. All right. That is why
Okay.
certain things have to be kept secret or secret. Right.
Imagine if she found that out. Now, she already has in her
But
mind if that happened, but when she finds out, it's worse. But this is the whole thing in the nutshell.
mhm,
The reason you tell is to see that's going to give you an idea of whether or not you need to continue on with that relationship with that person.
person. Okay. Okay.
You put it on the table.
But
If you don't and they find out or you keep it, it could start eating you up inside because you're not telling it because you see how this relationship is growing
okay.
and you're holding a big secret from this person.
Okay. So
You understand?
from your experience, you think when we are dating, or even before we get into getting into marriage or getting into any relationship, every secret has to be on the table. It doesn't matter what
I
it is
didn't. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is anything that's going to affect your relationship.
in the future, right?
I don't care that you went bankrupt in the past. I don't
Okay.
care that you robbed a bank in the past. All those things.
Uh-huh.
But what's going to affect us?
What is going to affect us? Okay.
What's going to affect
All
us?
right. Let me pick a caller on the line. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Kofi. I'm calling from Chicago.
Kofi from Chicago. Kofi, what's your question for the mistress of love, Roxy Johnson?
I get a quick.
Okay.
So before you get into a relationship, it's discussion of fantasies,
A good thing?
something you do or you don't.
Oh, Roxy, did you get a question? Before you get
I couldn't hear him while
okay,
I turned it up.
he's asking before you get into a relationship, do you have to put fantasies on the table? Your fantasies?
Are you talking about your sexual fantasies?
Yeah, sexual fantasies. I
Yeah.
believe that's what he. Yes.
Well, you know what? The whole important. If you really think realistically about it, I think that is something that should be discussed. One of the reasons I think that's so important, it shouldn't be a surprise later. You have to remember all women are not into fantasies and doing things. So you don't really know what their sexual carouse is or what they like. That's important to find out. It's going to affect your relationship in the end if you don't.
But sometimes you may have those fantasies, but you don't, kind of, get into it. I mean, you don't do it. You just have the fantasy. You just don't. It's not like something that.
Eventually, you're right, but you know what? Eventually, that fantasy is going to come out, and she's going to want to know where did that come from. I just had a lady. One of the same things happened. The husband wanted to be able to try different things in the bedroom, and she accused him of cheating on her. He must be cheating with somebody because he's trying all these different things that he
Wow.
must be doing with another woman. Now
Mm-hmm.
he wants to bring it in my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to talk about, to have your thoughts on the table and what's going on, so that she doesn't come up with her own fantasies mentally as to what you're doing on the outside. It's
Okay.
very important.
Okay.
It may sound like it may push someone away,
Mm-hmm.
but it may bring you closer.
Okay.
You understand what I mean? That makes sense to you.
Kofi.
But there's always the fear. There's always the fear of losing that person
Mm-hmm.
be-
You will
because
lose me if it is me. Trust me.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. What I have found is that if a woman is going to be with you and you tell her that you have various fantasies, you have to take a look. I'm going to tell you something. There is a big difference in African culture and American culture.
Okay. Let it out.
Um, it's a big difference,
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
what I've been finding in working with a lot of women in Africa, and it's not an insult, it could be a compliment or however you took it. But the thing of it is that I've been learning that they don't really know a lot about sex. They don't know a lot about their bodies and what actually it entails, even foreplay and things of that sort. And we spoke about that before too, on the shows
Yes.
previous.
Yes.
And I don't say it in an illicit sexual way, but what I say is, if you have a husband and wife, some women don't even know what that they. I talked to a woman. She had 6 kids, and we were talking about an orgasm, and she said, "Well, I must have had one. I have 6 kids." And I'm thinking to myself,
I must have
what?
mama.
That doesn't have anything to do with anything. And so what I'm saying is that
Mm-hmm.
if you think, if the woman has not learned a lot about her body, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of mothers don't talk to their daughters about sexual things, of which they should, because when you get married, a lot changes. It times have changed. And so these are things that should be dealt with, but they're not. So don't be afraid. You may have to work it in gradually, but that's what I find. So it's not something that they're going to leave you, and they shouldn't leave you because of that, because you're being honest. You're being honest as a man, because a man, a lot of times, men are more sexual than women. And so a woman has to understand those things. So don't feel bad about it, and don't feel that they're going to leave you, because they have to understand who you are. That's who you are. So do you go through your dating process and not saying anything and inhibiting yourself from enjoying what you like or what you fantasize about, because you'll end up going to somebody else who will do it. And you want to keep your marriage and relationship as a partnership together with the two of you. So that's something that you really have to think about. But for me, I want to know. I have the option of saying, well, can we start with something else? Or do I have to start with that one? And we work together as a partnership and in a relationship. But you've got to talk about it. Otherwise, you're going to really resent the person that you're with, because you're not getting what you should on that, in the intimacy, as far as that's concerned on that side. It's not fair.
Okay. Okay. Kofi. Anything else before we go to our next segment? Any follow up question,
I
or you're okay
mean,
with what's your answer from
you
Roxy?
may have, if you had these fantasies when you were much younger,
Kofi, come again.
don't. No, I'm saying you had these fantasies when you were much younger.
Okay.
Now you are, a little older. You didn't fulfill them. However, you don't plan fulfilling them. Do you still talk about it or no?
It's just
Because I
conversation.
don't.
It's conversation. If you're with someone and they can't have a conversation like that with you, then what has happened is their growth sexually has stopped. And so, if I mean, what's the harm in talking about it? You know what I mean? Like,
So
you know what?
I see where you're coming from. But at the same token, if any woman would be embarrassed to tell you their fantasies, you know that, especially from our culture, African culture, any
That's
woman
what
would
I'm
be
saying. But
embarrassed.
Kofi, listen, you said your name was Kofi. Listen to me. That's your wife. Women have to open up their minds and expand. Do you know how many women I talk to that their husbands have what they call side chicks or some foolishness. That, and that's a choice that they make in having a side chick. And a woman, in all honesty, she could do everything at home. But what if you are having that conversation with her? You don't know. She may say, "You got to be joking. You were thinking about that. Me too." You don't know because you've never talked to her. Because African culture is different. But suppose she wants to do some of the same things you want. Suppose she said, "Baby, I was waiting for you to ask me to put that pole in the middle of the bedroom because I always wanted one." You don't know you don't know what your partner is thinking unless you begin to talk.
Okay. And that is very important. All right, Kofi, thank you very much.
We are very jealous of some of these things. We want to do, but we
He said he's very. I couldn't hear him.
He said we are very jealous, so we don't want to.
Men are very jealous, so
they want to have.
Well, you know what? Then he better keep his stuff in that bedroom and talk to his partner, so that he doesn't ever have to wonder or be jealous about anything because he's going to be with her. She knows what he wants, and he knows what she wants. And I think that's an important thing. Communication is what is lacking in most relationships. And that is why people get jealous because they don't know what's going on in your head or what you're doing because you're not talking. Yeah. You're too scared.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Let me pick some few text messages
pick
before
some
we
text
move
messages.
on.
Yes, pick some text messages. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have Gifty Doku on the line. I have Insia Sapon on the line. I have Nana Asamoah Chico on the line. So Marie. Louise Coffee is on, and she says, where's the message? Okay, Roxy, I am with you on this one. If you do not tell me, it's fine. But if we meet that one person, I expect my partner to say something. Okay. So, and then, what again? Why are my messages messed up? Okay, so King Yoba says, I am not about to tell you about any past sex life. I will only tell you things you ask and then things you know you will find out regardless. Okay, so that's what King Yoba is also saying. And somebody says he needs a partner. Yes, I need a serious partner. Okay, so you just send us a DM on Aquaba Radio straight to our Facebook message. We read it and then we arrange a date for you. Okay, let me hold the rest of them.
I just want to go back to the person who says, I'm not going to tell you anything about the past. And what you find out, you'll find out what you need to know or whatever. I don't think in your culture anybody's going to ask you anything. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think that a woman is going to ask a man, some different little odds and ends or whatever, of his past. That's not really a conversation that you go into. If they begin to delve and tell you something, then you can ask questions on what they told you. If they want to keep secrets, then what happens when you begin to keep secrets and you have things, say for instance, it's a man and the wife is going out and she's going out with her friends and she's doing things. His mind is going because he wants to know, why is she going out now? Is she seeing somebody? See, because he doesn't even know anything about what her past was like, what she did, and what she enjoys, because nobody's talking. And that's what I'm saying. Communication is very important in these relationships.
Very, very important.
And you have to, it makes a big difference. I'm not saying that Americans talk all the time about different things, but what I'm saying is that we, like our moms and things, they're going to talk to us about sex. They're going to talk to us about different things so that we'll know what to expect, what's going on, different things, not in a vulgar manner, but in a manner of knowing your body, knowing what's going on. Those things are extremely important for young people to know about what's going on so that they understand their bodies. You see, and if you don't talk about anything to your wife, she doesn't even know what to expect on her wedding night.
Okay, so Roxy, let's go to our next question that